All right, let's just jump right in. For the longest time, we've basically been navigating the digital world with a kind of, well, blind faith. We just assumed the systems we were using were secure and that the stuff we saw online was real. But that whole foundation of trust, it's cracking. Big time. We're moving into a totally new era where we can't just believe anymore. We have to be able to prove. I mean, think about it for a second. Seriously, when you're scrolling through your feed or you click on some link, how do you really know what's legit? Who are you actually placing your confidence in? Is it a person, a platform, a brand? It's getting so much harder to answer that question with any real certainty, isn't it? And one of the biggest reasons why is the absolute explosion of AI. We now have these incredibly powerful tools that can create images, articles, even videos that are pretty much indistinguishable from reality. This isn't some far-off sci-fi thing anymore. It's a daily challenge we're all facing. The old saying, seeing is believing, is basically out the window, which just fundamentally wrecks one of our most basic ways of telling truth from fiction. On top of that, we've all become, let's be honest, deeply skeptical about our own data. We know our personal info is being vacuumed up, used, and sometimes, misused. This has created this huge chasm of distrust between us and the platforms we use every single day. It's like the trust is eroding from the inside out. And to top it all off, the very algorithms that are supposed to connect us often end up pushing us apart. They push sensational or just plain false information because, hey, it gets more clicks and more engagement. So when you mix all three of these things together, the AI fakes, the data privacy fears, and the algorithmic misinformation, what you get is a perfect storm, a full-blown crisis of digital trust. So how on earth did we get here? Well, it turns out that the way we've been building our digital defenses for the last 30 years, it's just fundamentally obsolete now. We were so busy building walls when we really should have been checking passports. For years, the gold standard for security was this castle and moat idea. You build a really strong perimeter, a big firewall, and you just assume that anyone who makes it inside the walls is trustworthy. A hard shell, but a soft, gooey center. But what happens when your employees are all working from home? Or when your most important data lives in the cloud? Suddenly, that perimeter just dissolves. The new reality is that we have to assume the bad guys might already be inside the castle, just mingling with the crowd. And this whole problem just got poured gasoline on it during the Web 2.0 era. We basically made a deal, right? We handed over our data, our identity, and our trust to these huge platforms, and in return, we got these cool, easy-to-use services. We put all our trust eggs in just a few baskets, making those gatekeepers incredibly powerful and also incredibly juicy targets. But okay, here's the good news. Just as technology kind of got us into this mess, a whole new set of tools is emerging to help us get out of it. We're finally moving away from a model based on just blindly trusting powerful middlemen to one that's based on verifiable, provable information. So let's pop the hood on this new toolbox. First up, blockchain. Now, for just a second, forget all the crypto hype and this speculation. At its absolute core, blockchain is a really simple idea. It's a shared record book that can't be tampered with. The best way to think of it is like a digital notary for the entire world. It creates trust not by relying on some central company, but through the mathematical structure of the system itself. And this is how it directly attacks the problems of the old model. Decentralization means that there's no single server for a hacker to target. Immutability means that once a record is written down, it can't be secretly changed later. And transparency means that everyone involved can check the work for themselves. It's a system built for a world where, frankly, you can't just trust anyone. All right, the next tool in the box is something called verifiable credentials. And this is a total game changer for our personal identity online. Just imagine your passport, your driver's license, your university degree, all as secure digital files that you and only you control in a digital wallet right on your phone. So instead of logging in with Google or Facebook and just giving them the keys to your data kingdom, you prove who you are directly. Let's say you need to prove you're over 21 to a website. Your wallet can cryptographically confirm that single fact without revealing your exact birth date, your name, or your home address. You are finally back in the driver's seat of your own identity. Now, all these cool new technologies are actually part of a much bigger philosophical shift in how we think about security. It's a mindset that completely flips that old castle and moat waddle on its head. It's called Zero Trust, and its mantra is incredibly simple. Trust nothing and verify everything, every single time. This definition from NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology, really gets to the heart of it. In a zero-trust world, it just doesn't matter if you're sitting in the office or logging in from a coffee shop in another country. It doesn't matter if you're on a company laptop or your personal phone. Nothing gets a free pass. There is no such thing as a trusted network anymore. So what does this actually look like? Well, in the new model, every single request to access anything has to pass through a central policy checkpoint before it gets anywhere near a resource. That old implicit trust zone, our cozy castle, it's just gone. Instead, we put a tiny little checkpoint, a microperimeter, around every single thing. Every file, every app, every database. Access is granted one specific request at a time and only after strict verification. It really all boils down to this simple three-step mantra. First, you start from a place of healthy paranoia. Assume the network is already compromised. Second, you challenge absolutely everything. Authenticate and authorize every single request. And not just the user, their device too. And finally, you are incredibly stingy. You grant the absolute minimum level of access needed for someone to do their job, and nothing more. The principle is simple, and you're going to hear it again. Never trust, always verify. Okay, so we've talked about the tech and the philosophy behind it, but this shift we're seeing is so much bigger than just servers and software. It's actually changing the very nature of how we as human beings build trust with each other in a digital world. On one hand, yeah, the future of security is purely technical. We're moving away from just assuming someone is safe because they are on our network and moving toward a world where we cryptographically verify every single interaction. It's about cold, hard proof, not just a warm, fuzzy belief. But, and this is the really interesting part, on the other hand, the future of trust is deeply human. In a world that's just swimming in deepfakes and misinformation, the brands, the creators, the leaders who are going to win are the ones who can actually prove they're authentic, the ones who are transparent and real. And what's wild is that the rules for building that kind of human trust look a whole lot like the rules for zero trust security. Be transparent about how you do things. Show the actual people behind the logo. Verify your sources just like a system verifies credentials. And hey, when you mess up, own it, fix it, and show you've learned. It's all about building trust through verifiable actions. Which leaves us with a really fascinating and kind of deep question to ponder. If our entire digital future is going to be built on this idea of constant verification, does that make the idea of trust obsolete? Or does it actually free us up to place our trust where it really truly matters? Not in broken systems, but in the verifiable authenticity of each other.